Item 20, road stopping application for Jubilee Street. We'll take the report as read. Are there any comments that staff wanted to make? Any questions on this one? Do we have a mover? Sarah Templeton, seconder, Dion Swiggs. Yanni.
I just want my vote recorded against number 1. And just to quickly speak to it, this has been going on for a number of years. And it's my view, and I expressed this at the community board, that actually retaining the link strip but allowing a licence to occupy for access with conditions is a better way forward than just refusing access. I personally don't think that there's significant safety concerns. If you look at the map, you can see that actually where the long driveway comes out onto the other street, onto Bamford Street, that's directly adjacent to where heavy vehicles are actually entering and turning into, rather than along a street where you don't necessarily have that same movement. So in my view, the letters that we had and the submissions that were made in terms of, deputations to the board, it would have been my view that actually there would have been relatively little impact of allowing controlled access, particularly in light of the fact that this issue has been going on for a number of years at extensive cost to council. So I just wanted to outline why I'd be voting against 1 and just make that clear.
Thank you. David East.
Yeah, look, I would support Yanni in this instance too. I've had a long association with issues on this particular street, and in fact, I think it's fair to say that this issue has been going on for something like 16 years, and one particular person has invested a large amount of money where at times the community board were in favour and staff weren't, and it's flip-flopped all over the show, and I think we have spent well in excess of $100,000 of staff time and resources on the sale or access of a piece of road that's probably would have netted council somewhere in the vicinity of $30,000 absolutely maximum. So I would actually like to probably propose an amendment along the lines that Yanni suggested to 1, that and Yanni, you'll have to help me out on the wording. I can't remember how you said it, but you said it quite well a moment ago. Allowing access or licence to occupy on this particular piece of land. There are other issues with other landowners in this little piece of street that have not yet been resolved, and arguments about how we allowed access on the other side of the road to an industrial usage there, and in fact in the note, the historic issue down below, there were suggestions that this particular person shift his access from Jubilee Street directly onto Rutherford. Yeah, the whole thing has been an absolute can of worms for 16 years, and I think a sensible resolution would be to allow licence to occupy and access over this particular strip of land. So I'd like to propose an amendment to 1 to that effect. Okay,
so can I get some wording for the amendment, please?
I think it's probably because that's a direct opposite to what the substantive one is. Foreshadowing a motion may be better than moving an amendment, but happy to seek the advice from staff over the best way.
Probably right.
Well, I mean, it's up to whoever wants to move an amendment, either to move one or not.
Moving an amendment to do a direct opposite of a resolution, I thought was not
direct opposition to a. So it would have to fail before we could go the other way.
Provides licence to occupy over it. I'm not going to vote in favour of it, but and most of the landscape area would still be retained. It would only be a strip of access over it, so it could potentially be an amendment, or it's a getting rid of the landscape area, either or.
Yep. So either moving an amendment or foreshadowing a motion in the event that item 1 is lost. But somebody
Either or,
needs to
they'll get
do
voted on.
something, otherwise. Yep. So
One is lost, that there's a new resolution that supports retention of the open strip, but grants a license to occupy for access to A1C.
Okay, now in order to, if that were to pass, because 1 were to be lost as it stands and then that were to pass, would we have required further information than is in this report in order to make that? So it's request a report considering the matter of, in order to meet the needs of the Local Government Act? Yep, or prudent decision
Well, it's
making.
just it's option 2 in the report. So we've already got the report, and it's basically option 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
So
I'll
the-
just foreshadow option 2 if that's easy.
just foreshadow option 2. Okay, that's fine, and that's done. All right, so Sarah.
Thank you very much. This is indeed a can of worms that has been lingering around for 16 years. I think someone put the can opener in 16 years ago, and it's been stirred around for ages, and I think it's time to just reseal it and put it back on the shelf. In fact, it was at our community board meeting the first time that this came to the board this term, because I'm sure it's been through the board before, that it was during one of our board meetings that Councillor Johansson raised the traffic safety issues and the link through to the industrial area there, which then led to staff changing their recommendation to not do the link strip anymore, to not sell a link strip anymore. It's not good practice for the council to continually open up access through to that industrial area where we have tried to create buffers between the residential and the industrial. The property owner has access from a driveway on the other side for this property, for option 1 there, and there is no need for this to happen. So it's time to reseal the can, put it on the shelf, and move on.
Okay, so I'll put the 2 parts of the motion separately. So item 1, all those in favour say aye. Against? So that's Yanni, Dave, against. Okay, so that's carried. And then item 2, all those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? That's carried. So both are carried. Thank you.